Hey guys, today we're in the book of 2 Samuel chapter 9. Now, this story continues, and it seems like a weird story, but I'm going to connect a dot for you that will make this a much better chapter to understand. It starts out when David says, "Is there anyone left in the house of Saul that I may show him kindness?" If you remember a couple of chapters ago, David said, "What can I do for you, God? I want to build you a house." And God says, "No, it's not for you to build me a house. Your son will build me a house, but not for you." But now he's asking, well, if I can't do anything for God, what can I do for others? Is there anybody left in Saul's bloodline that I could treat well because I still love and honor Jonathan? I want to do what is right. And so he finds somebody named Tesiba. And he says, "Hey, do you know anybody?" And Tesiba says, "Well, there is one," right? And we've already read about this one. There is one, and his name is Mephibosheth, right? Mephibosheth. And remember, this is Jonathan's son, who has an issue where he can't walk. If you remember, when all of Saul was getting killed, his servant took this paralyzed kid and runs away because they were afraid that the new king would kill, because he is the next heir to the throne, right? And so so they run away with this kid, and so David hears of him, and he says, "Where is he at? Go get him, bring him here." And so he comes, right, who's been hiding out for many years now, hiding out from the eyes of David, fearing that David would kill him because he is the true heir to the throne, right? And he comes into, before he hears that David wants to see him, he thinks he's going to be killed. He comes into the throne room of David knowing he's going to be killed, and he falls down and he says, "Here I am, I'm your servant." And David says, "Do not fear, I will show you kindness." Do not fear. These are words that, man, he never thought he would hear. Do not fear. I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm going to show you kindness. And with this statement, "Do not fear, I will show you kindness," this is a covenant statement. This is a promise, right? This is a promise of a king. He's not toying with them. This is a promise. Don't worry. I'm not going to kill you. I will do something good. And he says, what I'm going to do? I'm going to restore all the land that was yours, and you're going to eat at my table always, right? He's going to give him what he should have. Right? He's not making him king because the Lord said he's going to be king, but he is giving him land. And then he says, "You're going to eat at my table." He says, "We're going to be in close relationship. We're going to be best friends," right? Think, for years he thought David was trying to kill him. And now David says, you're going to be with me. You're going to eat at my table. We're going to talk every single day. I'm restoring you back into the kingdom, right? And back into the throne room. And he asked in verse 8, "Why would you do this? I'm a dead dog. I'm worthless. Why would you do this?" He has been hiding. He's probably been poor and hungry in all the years of hiding from David. He says, why would you do this? You could just kill me. And David basically says, "Because I'm doing the right thing," right? And so not only that, verse 10, he gives him servants to work the land so he would have income, he would have money, that he would sell these things, right? So he gets servants. And then we see in verse 11, so Mephibosheth ate at David's table like one of the king's son. He kept his promise that he made to him, right? So David kept his promise. He made his covenant. And so Mephibosheth had a son whose name was Micah, and he lives, and everything goes well. And Mephibosheth lived in Jerusalem. He lived in the palace with David, ate always, which means he had plenty of money. He never was without want. And he was lame in both his feet. So the Lord restored him, but did not restore everything. He was still paralyzed, still an issue there, but restored him, and he lived in the palace until these days. Now, when you read this, it's a good story, right? David's doing good. He looks out, makes sure that nothing's bad. He figures out about Mephibosheth, and he restores him. Let me give you a bigger picture of this chapter, okay? You and I, we are Mephibosheth. We're Mephibosheth. We had a place in the palace. Our Father was and is king, right? But we were removed from the king, and we have been in hiding, and we've been in poverty. We've been away. We were raised in richness, and now we have nothing. As humans, we walked with God in the coolness of day in the Garden of Eden. And it was our sin that took us away. We had the king, we had everything that we wanted, but we've been separated from the king and from everything that he has. And because of sin, we've been living a life that is not holy, that is not good, that is bad. And we've been fearful of that king the whole time. But it wasn't until the king sent a servant of his, a David, a Jesus, a Messiah, that would come and that he would restore us back to the kingdom. He would restore us back to the table of God. He would restore us back with servants and goodness, and we would do everything. And so here, though David is just restoring a son of Jonathan, it's a picture of how God restores us, or can restore us, back to the kingdom. It is through his servant Jesus Christ, through his son, through a David, right, that we read about in chapter 8, about how Jesus and David are together. Jesus is a messianic prophecy of a new David. And so as you read chapter 9, I don't know if you picked up on that, but it is sin that separates us. But he did not leave us in our sin. He sent a David type, Jesus, a Messiah, that he would call us back to the palace and say, listen, I will restore you. You can come back to the throne room of God. You can come back to God, and you can sit at my table, and we can have a relationship once again. That's exactly what Jesus did for us on the cross. That by being perfect, by never failing to sin, being the perfect sacrifice, atoning, giving perfect atonement for our sin, we are allowed to come back into the kingdom, or into the throne room of God. And so David is Jesus, Mephibosheth is you and is me. And if you have faith, if you believe in Jesus, you can be brought back into the throne room, the same that Mephibosheth was, restored back to the days that are former, restored back to a Eden, where we walked with God in the cool of the day. Hope that makes a little bit more sense, and we will see you tomorrow in chapter 10. God bless.